High school. Just hearing that phrase can bring back a flood of memories, can't it? You can probably picture the hallways, the classrooms, and of course, that one social battleground where everyone's place in the universe felt like it was set in stone, the cafeteria. So let's see what happens when those unspoken judgments we all make are dragged out into the open.
Okay, so take a look at this map. I know it's a cartoon, but it feels instantly familiar, right? You've got the plastics, the weirdos, the jocks, the techies. We've all seen it, we've all lived some version of it, and we have all made split-second judgments about people based on where they sit. But what if we actually had to say those judgments out loud?
Well, believe it or not, that's pretty much what one high school sociology class was asked to do. They took part in this really fascinating and, let's be honest, kind of brave classroom activity that was designed to bring our unconscious first impressions right out into the light. So here's how it worked. The idea was super simple but really powerful. Look around the room at the people you see every single day, and on a piece of paper, just write down the labels that first pop into your head. No filter, no overthinking, just that immediate, automatic thought.
Now, for something like this to work, you absolutely need some ground rules. First, everything was totally anonymous. No one knew who wrote what. No names were used, only the labels themselves. The whole point was to get raw honesty, but, and this is key, with one important boundary: no cruel personal attacks. This wasn't about bullying. It was about uncovering those snap judgments we all carry around.
So, the students all wrote down their labels, the teacher collected the anonymous lists, and then read them out loud to the class. So what do you think they found? Well, the results were pretty eye-opening.
In just one of the class periods, 57% of the labels students wrote for their classmates were negative, more than half. Just let that sink in for a second. When we're left to our own unfiltered gut reactions, our default setting seems to lean toward the negative.
And this chart just drives that point home, doesn't it? You can see it clear as day. That bar for negative labels at 57% just towers over the positive ones. It paints a really stark picture of our tendency to criticize before we compliment, to find a flaw before we find something to appreciate. And here you can see the actual words they used. The positives are, what you'd probably expect: pretty, athletic, funny, kind. But then you look at the negative column, and wow, the words are sharp, weird, annoying, fake. And some are just plain cruel, like trashy or trailer trash. And remember, these weren't strangers saying this about each other. These were classmates.
But this is about way more than just high school drama. There's a really powerful sociological concept that explains exactly why we do this. It's a theory that suggests these labels don't just describe us, they can actually start to shape who we become.
It's called labeling theory, and it was mostly developed by a sociologist named Becker. The main idea is simple, but it's also incredibly profound. We can actually become what other people call us. The labels that get stuck to us aren't just words. They can become a kind of roadmap for our identity and even our actions.
So, the crucial point, as Becker himself put it, is that being a weirdo or a troublemaker isn't really about what you do. It's about how society reacts to what you do. The label itself is what creates the reality. It's kind of crazy, right? If enough people call you the class clown, you might just start playing the part.
And that brings us right back to that classroom. When those students were scribbling down labels, they weren't just being judgmental. Sociologically speaking, they were acting as agents of social control. They were reinforcing the unspoken rules of the group: what's cool, what's not, who belongs, and who's considered an outsider.
Now, this isn't just a high school thing, and it's definitely not new. This impulse to categorize and label people is, well, it's timeless. But have the labels themselves, the actual words we use, changed over time?
Let's take a look. On the left, we've got labels from this same activity all the way back in the year 2000. Preppy, stuck up, loser, total classics, right? Now, look at the right, labels from today. Baddies, pick me, sus, try hard. The slang is completely different, but the intent behind it feels exactly the same, doesn't it?
And that's really the heart of it all. We might update our vocabulary, but our fundamental need to quickly sort people into these neat little boxes, the popular one, the weird one, the smart one, the annoying one, that impulse is just incredibly persistent.
So all of this leaves us with a challenge, really. We know we do this, we can see the impact, so the question isn't whether we'll encounter labels out in the world, it's which ones we will actively choose to look beyond. Who might you see differently if you just decided to ignore the first word that popped into your head?
This fascinating look into human behavior comes from an activity developed by Sociology by Design.
It's a truly powerful way to understand the invisible forces that are constantly shaping our social world.